Okay, so we had to go to Lowe's and we're going to put this up. We're going to hook it up for our remote switch. This is part 2. Okay, so we had to go to Lowe's and we got the rest of our stuff. So we're going to get our light ready to put up here. We're going to take our plastic off of our wires here. And we do have to ground our ground wire to the box. So we're going to bring it back over here. We're going to cut it. We're going to strip it with our strippers here. We're going to score it with our 14 hole like that. Then we'll have to get our knife and we'll cut it. Up to where we made our score there. Alrighty, so we had to put our green bonding screw in here to bond our ground wire to the box. Get it around here, make sure we don't get our insulation pinched. There we go. We'll close our loop the direction our screw turns here. Make it nice and tight, make sure insulation's not pinched. Now we're ready to put our remote onto our connections here. So we will take and we will strip our black and our white with our 14 gauge hole. And you can see where it says input, I'm pointing to it, that goes to your 120 volts going in. So we're hooking this to our wires here. I'm going to check my strip lengths. Good, they came out good. So we're going to hook our black and white line so we'll get our, now these stranded wires are tinned, so we don't have to, we're not going to wrap them around. So we can get them lined up even like this here. Our insulation's even at the bottom and our copper's even at the end. We'll take our orange wire nut and make sure our insulation goes into the bottom of that wire nut. And we'll get on there nice and snug, and our insulation is up inside. Now we'll take the white we'll make sure our insulation is even at the bottom and our copper is even at the top. And we'll See them, we got them lined up properly here, and we'll take our wire nut, make sure they stay even, and I'll put this, whoops, I felt the wire move, so I take it off and I just double check it. They're still even the way that we want them, so we'll put our wire nut on. Make sure it's nice and tight. So now we have our black and white line hooked up to our remote receiver here, and this black and white will go to our light fixture. So now we can take our box, we'll put our box up on here now. We'll line it up so our holes line up. This one's the one that started over here, so we'll have to just give this a little twist here so it lines up straight. And we'll get this one up here. Okay, and we'll just make sure we're in our track all the way around here. Okay, we're in our track all the way around. I'll just have to tighten the screw a little bit more. Now we can set this, we can get our wires to go into our box here. And we'll set our receiver down in here. Doesn't look like it's going to fit the way we want it to, so we're going to take this off and get it inside and put the cut box over it. Inside here. It's going to sit like this. With our black and white facing up like this. Sit down in here nice and snug. Make sure we're in our track all the way around here. Okay, there's our black one that goes to the light, and our white one is right here. Hard to get it out. I wish the wires were a little bit longer on these things. I'm going to make a little hook and get it out. There's our white wire. So we have our black and white that will go to our light. So I'm going to move these wires so they're not in the way of our screws when we put our bracket up for our light fixture. So now we'll go get our light fixture. So I forgot to get the shorter 832 screws. So if these are too long, you know what? They're going to be too long. But if I can cut them, guess what? I'll cut them. And they are just gonna fit. So I will cut a little bit off. It's nice to have pliers that have a cutter in them. So just put it in the side that you're going to cut. And you just squeeze it. Back it out. So we'll find our holes that we can match this up with. So our bracket fits like this, so we'll put it on with this one. And so we'll get it lined up so it's straight. Straight here, make it nice and tight. So we have very short wires to hook our light fixture up with. And we'll shorten our other screw here. I take it out by hand to make sure the threads are going to work all right. So we'll put our screw over here. Okay, so we'll use the, there's two different size orange wire nuts as you can see. We're going to use the smaller ones because these are two thin wires here. Okay, so we have a black, white, and a ground. So we'll hook our ground wire to the green screw here. Get around our green screw. I'm going to wrap this one around a couple times. Get our copper even at the end. And just make sure our wire nut's grabbing them. Okay, now we can get our ground wire back into our box here. So now we'll hook our black and our white up. So short. And we'll twist it together so they're nice and even. Like that there. Take our small orange wire nut. Make sure it's tight. And we gotta get our white wire back out again. Where did it go? So I'll get our wires even like this. Wrap them around each other like that. Put our small orange wire nut on. Make sure our insulation is going up into the bottom of the wire nut here. Okay, our insulation is up inside the wire nut. And we'll stick it in here. Now we'll take our little knobs off here. And we'll put our light onto our box. And we'll just get our wires back into our box where we want them. Set it on here like this. And we'll just put our little knobs on here. Put them on there nice and tight. Okay, now we just put our globe on. So this switch of light will be controlled by a remote light switch. Okay, so this is ready to put a light bulb into, and you just screw this plastic ring on here. Okay, so now we're ready to cut our cable here and prepare to put our light switch on for the closet light. So we got our cutter here. We're gonna cut at one end to go into our switch. Tighten our thing up here. Turn it until it turns freely. And it just pops off like this. Now make sure I didn't take too much. Push it back down. And we'll do our other end. And we'll just turn it until it turns free again. There it is. See, it turns freely. We'll take this off. And this end will just come off like that. And we'll grab our cutters here. So we'll cut our sharp edge off here. Just go in here like that, cut it off. Cut off our other sharp edge here. Like that. And we'll stick a couple anti-short bushings in on one on each end. Push this in here. This will protect the wire from getting cut on a sharp edge from the metal. Okay, so we'll put this is our MC cable connector. It has a built-in bushing in it, so I'm not really required to put the inside one in, but I like to put it in just to be safe. Snap it in like that. Same with this one. Make sure it's down all the way. Push it in until we hear the little Barbies lock inside there. So this is the battery operated remote control switch. It just takes like a little battery you put in there. The battery goes in that little compartment right there, and you just screw it on the wall wherever you want it. Okay, so we'll put our switch in. Make sure our box is nice and straight here. We'll use this one to drill our hole for our green screw to go in. I'll put this one over here. There we go. We'll open up our knockout here. Okay, so we can put our cable in here. We'll just clamp it down. There it is. Okay, so this white wire is going to be live because it's in a switch loop. So we're going to have to remark it with some red tape. I saw something very interesting that's not up to code in this house, and I'll be fixing it later. There is outlets in the wall without boxes behind them. Okay, so we'll score. Yeah, this is the 14 hole right here. Close our screw around the loop, the direction our screw turns here, and we'll tighten this by hand. Make sure our wire's under the screw head all the way around. Use the screw gun to tighten it down. There, it's tight. Making sure I didn't pinch the insulation under the screw head. It's nice not to have a flashlight. Okay, our insulation is not pinched under the screw head. So we have our ground, which goes on the green screw. You always strip with the wire size that matches the wire you're using. So we have to have this white wire marked with the red tape to let people know it's live in order for it to meet NEC code. There's our ground on the green screw. Make sure it's tight. And we'll flip it over and we'll get our black and our white on the side of the switch here. Doesn't matter which one. My phone's been making all kinds of noises, but I'm not finding any messages left, so I'm not even going to bother looking at it. Okay, so we're going to close our loop the direction our screw turns here. Make sure it's tight like that. I took my hat off so the visor doesn't get in the way of the camera. Alrighty. One, two. So we have good solid connections here. Now we can push our wires into our box and make sure nothing gets pinched or nothing's in the way of anything here. Making sure there's no wire back there. I'm going to finish it by hand, so I'm going to strip my holes out. Get it centered on our box. Okay, so we'll get a couple straps on here. Gotta get one close to the box here. You're not allowed to put Romex on the wall. It has, if it's on the wall, it has to be either wire mold, EMT, PVC conduit, or wire mold, or MC cable, which we're using here. Alrighty, so we're going to take down this vintage light fixture. It's probably from the 20s. I'm going to save it because it is a nice old style light. It's probably from the 20s, so it's definitely vintage. So this is a pretty neat old light fixture. I'm going to take this apart and clean it up and hold on to it because it's probably from the 20s, so it's definitely collectible. So we're going to open this one and this one. So if I do it this way, yeah, either way it's going to be up and down. Okay, so this is the one that's going to be going to our switch for the light here in the closet. So you just push it in until you hear the little Barbie snap. You hear them snap. And we'll get our clamp on here. This is the one that goes to our light. Now since you can't bend this cable sharply, you have to have slack up here to move it around. So we'll put our other anti-short bushing in here like this. Get it seated down so it doesn't, so the sharp edges don't poke. We'll hop down and get our connector. So we'll get one, make sure this is in here, so we'll get one right under the box. And we'll get one over here. We'll get one up here. And we'll get one down here off camera because it's well, if you lose the screw, you lose it. You don't get upset. If it's gone, it's gone. If you can't find it, you can't find it. You just get grab another. Don't let stuff like that bother you. So we'll put a screw here. There we go. We gotta get one down here, and we'll do that in a bit. Now we gotta get this one. This one's going to our light. That's gonna have power going to it all the time because it has the remote switch up to it. We'll just push our connector together like that. You see it in there like that. And we'll just set it all up on here. And we'll just snap it in. There. Okay, so we'll just have to get a clamp here and here. You can't bend this very sharply because you'll kink it, so that's why I have to have some slack. So you gotta have your clamp one close to your box. Can't see this one, but I'm doing one above the switch. And we'll get one over here. Okay, now we'll get our wires hooked up here. Okay, so we got our box on here nice and tight. This is older wiring here and there's no ground, so we'll just wire nut these ground wires together. We'll strip them with our 14 gauge hole. Make sure our copper is even at the end and our insulation is even at the bottom. Stick our wire nut on here. So if they ever rewire the house with the new wires coming down through here, they can connect to this ground and everything will be grounded. But for now, we'll just hook them up like this. And we'll get them back into our box, get them out of the way. Okay, so we have our switch loop wire here. And we're going to have to remark this white wire live again because it's in a switch loop. So according to the NEC code, you have to have your white wire that's alive, being used alive in a switch loop or in a 220, 240 volt circuit. It doesn't require a neutral remarked. So we can take our blacks and hook it to the black one that goes to our light that's going to be on all the time here, and our white switch wire. So we'll get this back in here out of our way. We'll strip it to the same length because we'll use a red wire nut here. Okay, we'll get them lined up so they're even like this. I'll just take a bit off of this so it's even. And we'll hook it up with our black wire too. It's going to be on all the time because it's a remote switch. Strip it. Make sure it's the same length. And we will use a red wire nut. Here in the country I was born in, wire nuts are the most common way of connecting our wires. So we'll just get our wires all even here. Get them even like this. Get them even like that. Take our wire nut. We'll just twist it in. Okay, we'll look, make sure all our insulation is going up into the bottom of the wire nut here. I can't really see, but you know what, I'm glad I can't see. So I'll just untwist it and just look, see if they've wrapped in together. And they got crooked, so we're going to do them again. But you know what, we're not going to get upset. You don't frustrate. You just do it again, that's all. Don't let crooked bother you. It doesn't do any good. Don't let anything bother you. We'll just shorten this up so it's not too long. Okay, now we'll try again. So we got them all even here. And we'll twist our wire. Now I'm going to hold down lower so it grabs them all. Okay, so you see how I got uneven? Okay, now they're all even. I'm going to take my wire nut and I'm going to let it twist it without moving the wires. Let it grab everything. Okay, now it grabbed everything. I'll look in here. Now everything all went in the way I wanted it to. One other extra twist to make sure everything's all in the way we want it, and we'll get all those wires back out of our way. Now hook our whites together here. Make sure it's the right length here. Now we'll have our black wire hook up to our porcelain light fixture. It's going to be in the closet. Now I'm going to jump down and grab a white tail wire to go to our porcelain light fixture. I'm going to shorten this just a bit. It's a little long. Okay, they're the same length. We got them all even here. Now I'm going to grab back further so I can let the wire nut grab everything before I have to move my fingers down. So we got everything all even here. Take our wire nut, we're just going to let it grab everything. Okay, I see all our insulation up inside the wire nut here. So make sure everything's all nice and pushed back here. Now we have our black and white to hook to our light fixture. So we're going to use a Lee Grand product here. We bought at City Electric. So here in the country I was born in, your black wire will go on the brass screw, which is the little brass button in the back, and your white neutral wire will go on the silver colored screw, which is the thread base inside the socket. Pretty soon we'll be able to go downstairs and turn the breaker on and see how everything works. But unfortunately I don't know how to program the remote switches, so I won't be able to show that. So again, we'll put our wire around the screw, the direction our screw turns. Make sure we get our copper under the screw head all the way around. Like that there. Make sure it's under the screw head all the way around. Make sure they're tight. Like that there. Now we're ready to put our fixture onto our box. So we'll put them in, make sure they don't get in the way of the box and get pinched between the side of the box or push against any sharp edges. We're going to make sure our screws aren't going to hit any wires. And now we can just screw our socket into our box. Now you don't want to over tighten these screws because you'll just crack the porcelain. And we got it screwed down. We might get one more clamp on this because they might not want it sticking out. So we'll put our light bulb in. It works. And we'll just stick one more clamp back here. If we have one. But if we don't, we don't. Okay, we'll get one down here, one more extra one. And we'll get one up here because it's down lower. There we go, so it's nice and secure along the wall here.